7 o'clock here with you for McElroy. I guess you call this mostly just a recap Friday for some of the sights and sounds that you may have missed for SEC Media Days this week. Of course, the coverage here on Jox, phenomenal from all of our guys there with boots on the ground, us holding it down here in Birmingham. But just kind of a collective, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a debrief, but kind of just a recap. And we want to hear from you as well throughout the day today, 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls always welcome here on Jox. But we'll take a look back at some of the things that we heard during the week, take a look at some teams, listen to some of the coaches, players, I guess you could say a little bit of some bonus coverage from some of the interviews that Cole was able to snag while there at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. Overall, I think it was a great week for a lot of the conference. You got some funny sound bites from Eli Drinkwitz yesterday to wrap things up. But when you kind of get the consensus from all these coaches, again, it's talking season, but everybody feels pretty confident about their squad heading into the 2025 season. So to start things off here on Mac and Cube in the morning, we'll take you back a couple days ago. The defending SEC champions, Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, as he prepares and delivers his opening statement from the podium at SEC Media Days.
10th season at UGA. I want to say a couple words about somebody that is kind of stepping down from our program, and he's been one of the biggest parts, and people do not give athletic trainers enough credit. But for 30 years, the face of UGA athletic training, and in most cases, the SEC athletic training, has been Dr. Ron Corson. He got his doctorate yesterday in athletic training, and I want to give a shout out to Ron and all he's meant to our program at the University of Georgia and what all he's done. He is a selfless man that is given to multiple head coaches. He's been basically the primary care physician for every coach and their family and every former player at UGA. So thank you for what you do, Dr. Ron, and what you continue to do for our program. Real quick, 3 football players we brought today. I know everybody likes to talk about their guys. I'm going to brag on mine. So C.J. Allen is a rising junior and one of the best leaders we've had in our program at linebacker. He is from Barnesville, Georgia, right down the road, and is a tremendous leader. Quick story about C.J. My son needed to get treatment for the last couple months, and he would come in the office every morning around 6:50, 6:55 to get treatment at 7 so he could make it to school by 8. And there wasn't a morning that we got there that C.J. Allen was not already in the training room doing some kind of rehab, running, getting warmed up, taking care of injuries. He's just a relentless worker and a relentless competitor who got to play in some big games as a freshman, probably even before he was ready. And that's paid off for us last year and this year with CJ. Next would be Gunnar Stockton from the great community of Rabun County. He's with us today. Gunnar is a kid that leads from the front. Gunnar's a winner. He comes from an athletic family background. His dad played at Georgia Southern, and he is the kind of kid you want at the front of the line, and he leads from the front. So I appreciate what Gunnar does. He's going to be a big part of our program this year in leadership and doing that with the offensive players. He's already begun to do that in his leadership groups that he runs right now. And then the last one is Dalen Everett. Dalen is a senior. Dalen will graduate this next summer. Gunnar just graduated this summer, and CJ will graduate. I'm sorry, Dalen will graduate this fall, and CJ Allen will graduate next summer, being a third-year player. But Dalen's from Norfolk, Virginia. Dalen's been a part of our program for 4 years, really a 2-year starter in my mind. He had a big year for us last year. He gives tremendous confidence to a secondary that's going to be young next year. Dalen is a kid that ever since we've met him, no challenge is too big. He loves to practice. He loves to compete. He demands excellence, and he is here representing us today, so I'm proud of Dalen. Our team's going to be comprised of 54% first and second year players. Very big change for us. I thought last year was probably one of the most veteran teams I've been a part of. You guys know the COVID class has kind of aged out. So we had multiple players that were in their 5th and 6th year last year, especially across the offensive and defensive lines. We had a tremendous group that all went out kind of at the same time, aged out at the same time. And so we're going to be really young, especially on the offensive and defensive lines. But 54% of our players are coming into their 1st or 2nd year. So what do you get with that? You get youthful exuberance. We've had practices that have been spirited. We had a great spring practice that we talked about the words fire, passion, and energy. I think the biggest thing that separates college football teams today is complacency among players versus fire, passion, and energy among players. So we've tried to highlight those traits as much as possible with our players. Our players need to bring juice and energy each and every day. If they don't, they'll be confronted by the players that do. And if the players continue to do that, we'll have a successful season and a successful football team. In a day and age that I think Sankey referenced it yesterday, times are changing. College athletics and college football is not broken. He used the word strained. I would say that it's in a time of change and influx that you have to navigate better than your opponent. You have to navigate better than your competitor, whether that's conference to conference or within your own conference. And we continue to find ways to do that at University of Georgia. We sell relationships over transactions. We think the relationship still wins out because the relationship allows you to push people and demand excellence. And we're going to continue to do that at Georgia. We don't believe in just being transactional, because when you're transactional, you cannot accomplish whatever your ultimate goal is, whatever your greatest reach is, whatever the ceiling is for every player and every team we have. You don't reach that without relationships. So we're going to try to win 24-hour increments each and every day to make sure we still attain that. A great example of what I think about in college athletics, I wanted to share. Leland in our sports information department has a young lady that just won a national championship with our track team. Kayla is with us today. Kayla Jackson from Detroit, Michigan, came all the way to Athens, Georgia to run track. She won a national championship with our women's track program, and she is kind of interning, kind of mirroring us in SID today, and that wouldn't be possible without college athletics. I don't think enough of those stories are told, and that is important to me. I'm a traditionalist. I believe in the college athletic background and what it does for people, what it did for me and my family, what it did for my wife being a female athlete at the University of Georgia and playing basketball. That experience paves the way for future success, and I believe in that.
That's the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, one Kirby Smart. From SEC Media Days, him starting off there in Atlanta. And, for Georgia, the defending SEC champion, Stockton steps in the second half of the SEC championship game over Texas, wins that game, but they fall to Notre Dame in the college football playoff. But I still think when you look at this Georgia Bulldogs team heading into the 2025 season, they're always going to keep the identity of Kirby Smart. Like it's a very aggressive confidence. I think that this Georgia unit now, Gunnar Stockton, even with him kind of, being at the forefront and the spotlight being on him at the quarterback position, navigated it well during SEC Media Days. He just strikes me as just an old school. He's got kind of like an older appeal to him where he's just a ball player. Like he's looked at as, look at all the talent that I have around me, the pieces that Georgia was able to add to the portal. A lot of guys, also stepping up in development that he's like, man, I'm blessed to be the quarterback at Georgia, but all I need to do is distribute the ball and be a true point guard for this team in order for them to have success, because the identity I think we've kind of put with Georgia is mostly just on the defensive side. And I think defensively for Georgia coming back, in 2025, I will harp on this because it still just does not make sense to me that we all witnessed last year, an Ole Miss team, they're a Lane Kiffin-led team, and as high fluent as his offense is, they welcomed the fist fight for Georgia. And that's where I I was like, all right, well, maybe it's just the new age of college football where you're not going to have, the 14-0 games. Like those days are kind of well behind you. But when I look at this Georgia team, and I have them third in the SEC right now. But I still feel confident that Georgia's going to go out there and do what they need to do. Now, they did suffer at the receiver position absolutely tremendously last year with the inconsistency. When you lead the nation in drops at the receiver position, that's always going to be a problem, no matter how you slice it up. But for them to have that as one of their Achilles heels and still found themselves in the college football playoff, it's like, okay, well, the talent is definitely still going to be there. But I think the addition of Zachariah Branch, I think the addition of Noah Thomas, the development of Bell coming back for another year, it's hard not to think this Georgia team is going to be just as successful as they were last season.
It feels wild to think that Georgia had a disappointing season last year, and you could almost say that they did because of the talent that was there and especially the expectations going in. But with that, I mean, disappointedly won the SEC,
right.
And granted, yes, you lost, but you had you had a bye in the playoffs, and granted, yes, you ultimately ended up losing that game to a team that made the national championship game. So, okay, yeah, you probably lost to a better team, perfectly fine, but you had to lead in that game, and you also lost your quarterback too. So to be able to have that fight in you, to be able to continue to still make that a game, leads me to believe that Georgia probably won't take a step back. Yes, we'll see some, because even though it's Kirby and that defense is still there, it feels like we just don't know everyone that's there. But he's also earned the benefit of the doubt. It's like, okay, we know the defense may be new, but yeah, he's got it. It's okay. The offense is going to be questionable because, yes, you know Gunnar Stockton because he was thrust into the limelight last year. But we also felt this way going into last year. What are they going to do without Brock Bowers? Well, they found a way.
Yeah,
they found a way. And, yes, it also does feel weird that Georgia didn't really run the ball. But I think Kirby knows that, and it's like, okay, you know what? They got me. Okay, it happens one time. My bad. Took my eye, no pun intended, off the ball. We're going to rectify that. So I still wonder if Georgia's the team to beat still.
Right.
Like, if it doesn't feel like they should be because of everything that Texas has and the prodigal son playing a quarterback, but nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, ... Kirby Smart.
Exactly. Like, y'all kicking us while we down, and our quote-unquote down year, we still made the college football playoff.
Right, yeah.
Still won the SEC. We put patches on all the holes that we had and still messed around and ended up being one of the better teams, well, the best team in the SEC last year, capturing the SEC title. So when you look at the 2025 schedule for Georgia, they open up the season with the Marshall Thundering Herd and follow that up with Austin Peay. As far as the Georgia will be 2-0 to start the season. Don't expect don't expect any surprises there. Then you take the trip up to Tennessee to open up conference play, and when you look at how that game has gone for the past decade or so, until Tennessee shows that they can do it, I'm probably gonna lean Georgia in that ball game. No matter how, and maybe if Joey Aguilar has the resurgence like Hendon Hooker had in 2022, that's the kind of effort it's going to take. But you have a bye week, and then it starts to get a little interesting in the tail end of September going into the month of October. You have Alabama coming into Athens after the bye week. We saw what happened. We saw what happened last year. And, you know, the viral quote from back in the day is, you had us in the first half. Now, the second half of that game, yes, it was a completely different ball game, but you put yourself behind the 8 ball so massively in the first half that game, when you go back and look at it, wasn't necessarily in Georgia's favor to start things off. But you do get them at home. Never really know what could happen there in Athens, but I think it will be a great ball game. Then you got Ole Miss at home after that before you hit the bye week with the Florida-Georgia game there in Jacksonville, which, if DJ Lagway doesn't go out last year with injury,
whole different game.
Yeah. Again, there's, like Cole says, there's no should-haves or could-haves in football, but I'll just say the game would have been a little bit more interesting if DJ Lagway hadn't gotten hurt. Just to wrap things up in November, you hit the road to take on Mississippi State, back at home for Texas. Then you have the Charlotte 49ers sprinkled in right there before you take on Georgia Tech there for the rivalry game in the month of November. So the schedule for Georgia, it's manageable because when you look at the teams that you failed to last year, You should be able to handle your business. But I do think just when you look at the SEC as a whole in totality, everybody, Brian Kelly said last year, November is for contenders. No, November, the month of November is for contenders. And when you look at the month of November for Georgia, you got Florida, Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, and Georgia Tech. They're one of the best games that we saw in college football last year with Georgia Tech. So big things on the horizon for the Georgia Bulldogs, but that was Kirby Smart. Continue on the other side. Listen to some more coaches in their opening statements. Continue on the other side. Listen to some more coaches in their opening statements to start off SEC Media Days this week. Keep it locked right here on Jox. Public in the morning. Damien and John here with you for our SEC Media Days. I guess you say recap, coverage, just some things that you may have missed. Also give you some bonus interviews that we didn't get a chance to air during the week, but we saved it for you on Friday as Cole got a chance to sit down with some notable players and some figures from SEC Media Days, and we got a chance to hear from Kirby Smart in his opening statements there from SEC Media Days, and kind of flip it around. The runner-ups in the SEC last year, the Texas Longhorns, last year made their first appearance in the SEC, and they messed around there and found themselves in the championship game, a rematch against the